Greetings, citizens. Hey you beautiful creepy little human being you. Welcome to my channel and welcome to today's morbid makeup video. I'm so happy we could meet like this. I'm so happy that somehow in all this craziness today, you and I were able to find each other on this crazy little planet that we call home. My name is Brittany or BRATTERSTEIN, whichever you prefer, and today we're going to be discussing a young couple named Jerry Rice and Janice Ruhter. In 2011, Jerry and Janice bought their first home together in a nice, safe, quiet little neighborhood in San Diego, California, but almost immediately after the purchase was complete, the couple found themselves being harassed and terrorized by a stranger stalker. That's what we're going to be discussing today, but before we get started, if you have not yet had the pleasure, please make sure to join the Brat Pack by subscribing and ringing the bell. I put out a new morbid makeup video every single week, and I would love to hang out with you. Yes, you, specifically you, but I can only do that if you join the Brat Pack and become one of us. One of us. One of us. One of us. Yeah. And you can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you'd like. They're both BRATTERSTEIN, but no pressure. All right, now that I'm done begging you to join my cult, we can get into this video. Now, I know this one is this story is a little different than our traditional morbid makeup videos. I don't think I've ever covered just a straight stalker case on my channel, but it's the type of case that honestly really interests me. I remember there was a show on TV, I think it was just called Stalked, and I was so interested in it because it's one of those things that sounds absolutely horrifying, very invasive, and the laws around stalking have been traditionally a little bit lax. But anyways, this case was actually recommended to me by my sister Miranda. Hi Miranda, thank you Miranda. And she texted me and she's like, you gotta cover this. It's like a crazy case and no one's talking about it. So I started looking into it because she asked me to. And as I looked into it, I was just like, excuse me, what did I just read? What did this person do? It was a lot. And I wanted to bring it to you after reading it so that collectively we could just say, what the fuck? Okay. Now with all of that said, I'm gonna tell you that story today. And while I do it, I'm gonna put on a full face of makeup, hence the makeup and morbid makeup, right? If that's not your thing, so sorry. Thanks for hanging out this long. I hope you find somebody who does videos that are a style that you prefer. But if you're kind of on the fence, like, I don't know how I feel, maybe stick around. You may be surprised by how much you like me, okay? Okay. So come, gather around and let me tell you the story of Jerry Rice, Janice Ruhter, and their stranger stalker. Okay, let's start by jumping in our handy dandy time machine and heading to the San Diego County in California in September of 2011. This is where couple Jerry Rice, who was a special ed teacher for children with autism, and his wife Janice Ruhter, who was a microbiologist for children in hospitals. They were both very children driven with their jobs. Anyway, these two, this young, beautiful married couple, bought their very first home. A friend of the couple's was a real estate agent, and she had helped the two of them find their perfect little home. It was tucked away in a little cul-de-sac in a quiet neighborhood where everyone knew everyone. People went on walks in the morning for fun and for exercise or with their pups, and everyone said hello when they'd pass each other. They'd actually ask, like, how are you doing this morning? How's everything going? Instead of the typical little, smile and nod, like, you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about. And there was even a park nearby the new home, and this was perfect because, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this young couple had a growing family. They already had one son, and at the time that they bought this house, Janice was pregnant. And I mean very pregnant, 8 months, big old belly, ready to pop pregnant. And the two were expecting their very first daughter. So cute. The couple was very excited about buying their first home, but of course they were also pretty nervous because this house was almost $800,000, which is almost $1 million, which is like a lot of money for anyone. So reasonably, it caused a little bit of anxiety and a little bit of stress to make such a humongous, very, very adult decision. But they wanted to take on this responsibility. They wanted a house of their own, a place that they could raise their two children and, just be super duper, very serious adults. Cannot relate. So the couple move in, and almost immediately they receive a letter. And initially they just kind of didn't think much of this letter. They threw it aside. It didn't really stick out in their mind. But later, when the couple was trying to figure out who was stalking this beautiful family and why, this letter would come back and prove to be very useful. This letter said, and I quote, "Dear new owner, our agent made an offer to Ken Morin, the selling agent, that we would pay up to $100,000 to be able to purchase the house. With so many parties involved, 3 sets of agents, I wanted to make sure that this was communicated to you and to let you know the offer still stands. We do need to move forward though, so if you could please let us know either way, interested or not, by October 20th, 2011, we would appreciate it. Thank you." So initially, as I said, the couple just ignored this letter and got on with their lives. They had a lot going on. They had just bought a home, they were settling in, they had a budding, growing family, but in the coming weeks and months, things started to get very strange. The couple didn't initially put the pieces together of what was going on in their home, but once they finally did, they found that the picture of the puzzle on the front of the little puzzle box wasn't like a beautiful waterfall landscape. It was instead the portrait of a deranged person who wanted this couple out of that house. So the first thing that happened to the couple that was a little odd is that their house, the house that they had just purchased, just moved into, was relisted on Zillow with a new seller's agent. So they came upon this listing and they were like, bro, what the fuck? So they reach out to their friend, the real estate agent who helped them sell the home, or helped them buy the home, and they were like, yo, what the fuck? And their friend, the real estate agent, was like, yeah, bro, I don't know. That's really weird. I don't know who would have done that or why, but that's super sketch. Direct quote, by the way. No, not really. But can you imagine how weird that would be to have the house that you're legit living in, photos of it just posted online saying that it's for sale while you're literally inhabiting it and you just bought it? Super sketch, as the real estate agent said in that direct quote. Anyway, they couldn't figure out what was going on, how this would have happened, so they were just kind of like, okay, and went on with their lives, put it out of their mind until the next weird thing happened. The next weird thing that happened is the couple started receiving really weird things in the mail, such as bills for items they'd never purchased, thousands of dollars in bills for magazine subscriptions or various pharmaceutical items. And that was before their mail just stopped entirely showing up to their home. Yeah, their mail just completely stopped. Now, is it that it stopped being delivered, or is it that somebody was stealing their mail out of their mailbox? Well, I don't know if they ever figured that. I'm not sure if they ever figured out if their mail was canceled or if it was being stolen from their mailbox, but I believe it was being stolen from their mailbox, now that I'm thinking about it. Either way, they stopped receiving their mail. A couple of months after the couple had bought and moved into their new home, the first potentially dangerous act of harassment began. Like before that, it was like, okay, your mail has stopped, you have received bills for things you haven't bought, but this was the first thing that actually put the couple in danger. And this is when all of the women in the neighboring homes on the cul-de-sac that the couple lived started receiving Valentine's Day cards in February of 2012, all declaring their love and admiration for them, and all signed as from Jerry Rice. As I'm sure you can guess, this made the women who were on the receiving end of these cards very uncomfortable. It was intense for them, and it was very upsetting for their partners. One man even said in an interview, like, I have this beautiful wife, she belongs to me, which was a statement that hit my ear a little weird, but I digress. And this guy got very pissed off and immediately like stomped over to Jerry Rice's home. He's like, I've never met this man, but I'm about to meet him now. You know what I mean? So Jerry, who I'm sure was very confused and quite frankly shitting his pants at this angry husband on his doorstep, had to explain to them like, sorry, yo dog, sorry, it's not me. I got a stalker. I promise I'm not trying to your wife. I don't know what's going on, and just had to explain the situation that they've been being harassed for a while and to disregard anything else they get because it's not him. But can you imagine? Can you imagine you're just at home with your family, like about to have your dinner, and this angry husband shows up like, why are you sending my wife love notes? If you were his wife, would you have believed him, or would you think that he was trying to step out on you? If you were Janice, what would you think? It was at this point that the couple finally went to police because they were just getting scared. They were scared for themselves. They were scared for their 2 small children. They had their little boy, and at this point their baby girl had been born as well. So police were like, listen, after hearing their story, listen, this is clearly someone who is crazy, maybe a little sick in the head, who is obsessed with you, who has been watching you, which I'm sure just made them feel wonderful. So they went home and decided they were going to do everything they could to protect themselves. They were going to do whatever it took. English is hard right now. What is wrong with my brain? They're just basically going to do whatever it took to protect themselves and to feel safe in their home. So they got a lock for their mailbox. They added a security gate to the front of their property. They put exterior cameras that were pointing out towards the street so they could see anybody that was coming to their mailbox, trying to steal their mail, coming into their property, peering in their windows, just trying to see if they could catch this person in the act of being a creepy fuck. Sadly, the stress of the situation started to kind of drive a wedge between the couple because Janice was a new mom, brand new baby, and that's already stressful enough without adding the stress of wondering, like, what the hell is going on? Why is this person targeting me? What are we doing to deserve this? And while she's, you know, stressing over that, Jerry is not so much concerned with why is this happening, but who's doing it? When are they going to do it again? And he became consumed with getting up, staying up all night, not sleeping with his wife, checking the cameras, checking the property, going in and checking on the kids over and over, instead of like laying in bed and comforting his wife. They were just dealing with the situation in very different ways. And it was causing them to kind of like drift apart from each other, which is really sad because that's not what you want in this sort of situation, but I believe that that's probably common because everyone deals with stress in a different way. So as is common, you know, the hits kept coming and they don't stop coming. Fed to the rules and they hit the ground running. No, but really, they did, and this is when the couple found that their stalker was now posting ads on Craigslist. Now, these ads, my friends, my dudes. So these ads started as more innocent, if you can consider any of what this person was doing as innocent, with the stalker posting an advertisement online about a New Year's Eve party that was going to be at the couple's property, and it was going to be a rager and you should show up, and including their address, which is already like, okay, maybe we don't because that's a bit fucking rude. But it went from that to something potentially much more dangerous. The stalker started to post, you know, advertisements on Craigslist that included Janice Ruhter's photo. Against her will, obviously. And the title of this post was Carmel Valley Freak Show because Carmel Valley was the area in San Diego where the couple was living. And the advertisement essentially said, with Janice's photo, that she wanted men to come over to her house while her husband was at work so that she and these random men could get their freak on. Get their freak on. Get their freak on. Get their freak on. At this point, the police got heavily involved because this is incredibly dangerous. And this is when police found that not only were these posts made on Craigslist, but men had been responding to the Craigslist ad, and the stalker and these men had been corresponding back and forth with Janice's photo. So they thought they were talking to Janice. Keep in mind that this ad had Janice's real photo, her real address to the home that she had with her small children, and the things that the stalker was saying, boy, oh my god, okay. It's scary. The stalker was essentially saying, as Janice, that she wanted men to come to her house, to force themselves inside of her property, and to take her, just to take her, no matter how much she kicked and screamed. The stalker was essentially trying to get Janice raped. I'm sorry, excuse me, ma'am, sir, hello, hello, what? The stalker even responded to one man saying, and I quote, "I love to be surprised and have a man just show up at my door and force himself in the door and on me, totally taking me while I say no." Okay, at one point, guys, and I shit you not here, a guy who saw the advertisement and had been in communication with Janice showed up at their house, bro. Like, can you imagine Absolutely not. And fortunately, because like the couple knew about the ad, they knew that there was a danger. Jerry was home at the time, so this guy shows up and Jerry comes out and he's like, can I help you? And the guy like made up some lie and took off. But it was later able to be determined that this guy was in fact responding to the ad because once police got involved later and the person got caught, which spoiler alert, you're gonna find out who it was and everything. It was determined that after this guy had been scared away, he had emailed Janice and was like, yo, there was a man at your house when I showed up. And Janice was like, oh, I know, that's just one of my other suitors. How do you feel about a threesome? This sounds like a lie. It sounds like I'm telling you a fake story. I'm not. It's real. So this couple is freaked out. It's been months of terror and they've been sitting there racking their brains trying to think of anyone who would want to hurt them, anyone in their lives that they had wronged, anyone that could be responsible for this. And that's when the couple was like, it dawned on them and they're like, that note we received from a person wanting to purchase our house. Well, that note had been signed. There was a signature on the bottom of that note from the sender, and the sender was a woman named Cathy Rowe. So Janice decided she was going to take this to the internet, thought that this could have something to do with something, but she wanted to make sure before they just like ruined this person's life and gave the name to the police. So she gets online, searches the name Cathy Rowe, and is shocked when she sees a photo because she realizes that she's seen this person before. Because shortly after the couple moved into the house on Halloween, this woman, Cathy Rowe, had shown up to their home trick-or-treating with her daughter. And somehow Janice remembered this, which blows my mind. Because I mean, I guess like trick-or-treating isn't as common as it used to be. I don't know about you guys, but I've definitely noticed that. So maybe since there were less people coming, she remembered them. But she was like, this person has been here before, which is super strange. Now, who was Cathy Rowe and what the fuck was her deal? Cathy Rowe was a 50-year-old wife and mother. She was generally known as being a nice woman, she had a county job, and she even had a very sick husband who she cared for, and she had even won Mom of the Year previously because of how wonderful she was with her daughter, who was severely physically disabled, having over 100 doctor's appointments a year that she personally always took her daughter to, since her husband was too ill to do so. So Cathy was her family's primary caregiver. The home that Janice and Jerry lived in when it had been on the market, Cathy had been interested in purchasing this home as well. And as soon as she entered the home, she said it felt like her house. The single-story home with the pool in the backyard and the quaint little neighborhood was the exact home she'd always wanted for her, her husband, and her young daughter. Cathy, who was so excited about the prospect of buying the new home, was devastated when her offer wasn't accepted for the home. She said it broke her. It felt like the death of someone she loved, which, ma'am, with all due respect, that's a bit dramatic. She said that when she found out she didn't get the home, she cried and she cried and she cried, which, okay, I get getting your hopes up and being disappointed when things don't work out the way that you want, but like, she really did the most about it. You know what I mean? She really lost her fucking mind about it. And that's when, you know, she started going in. She started to stalk this couple that she did not know. She stole their mail. She signed them up for those subscription services that they did not sign themselves up for. She listed the house on Zillow. She sent all the Valentine's Day cards to all the ladies in the neighborhood. And Janice was right. It was Cathy who had come to their house on Valentine's Day. She said that she wasn't coming over to see who had bought the house, but she just wanted to see what the people who purchased the house had done to her house. That's a lot of bliss, isn't it? Hell yeah, it is. Anyways, let's go back in time to where the family had not yet figured out who Cathy Rowe was, or had not confirmed that it was Cathy who had been terrorizing this family. So at this point, the family voices their concerns that it could be this Cathy woman to the police. And this is when an agency called Catch got involved to try to help and track down the person responsible through cyber means. Because science and the internet, there's people who specialize in this, who are very, very smart people. Essentially, this company was able to prove that the Craigslist ads were in fact coming from Cathy Rowe's computer, and bada bing, bada boom, she was busted. So police head over to her house to confront her about it, and almost immediately she cracks and confesses everything. She knew when she was got. I don't know if she thought she'd get away with it. I don't know what her thought process was, but she did not get away with it. She got heckin' caught. So Kathy Rowe was arrested, and initially she was facing up to 9 years in prison, which would have been like 9 years in prison, right? But she ended up actually taking a plea deal where she was only going to serve 1 year of house arrest, so she'd have to wear an ankle monitor. Then she would have 5 years probation and a 10-year no contact order. Kathy had claimed that she had no idea that by sending these men over to the home where Jerry and Janice lived, under the pretense of having sex with Janice against her will, would put Janice in any sort of actual danger. She didn't know. She was like, I had no idea. And she said that it was really out of character for her to not think of others because she was the type of person who always put other people's feelings before her own. This was just like a lapse of judgment on her part because of her state of mind and her sleep deprivation. She said at the time this happened, she was going through it mentally. She had no support system. She had no family or friends that she could talk to about what was happening in her mind, and she just snapped. Kathy said that she did not consider what she had been doing to this couple as hurtful or malicious at the time. She saw it instead as her just pulling pranks on them. The same type of pranks that she would have pulled on friends when she was younger. She was just a youth pulling pranks by sending men over to rape Janice Ruhter. That's what she was doing. Cat hair. Kathy Rowe said of her harassment of the couple, and I quote, "I thought it was funny. I did not view it as suffering." She also said, and I quote, "The anger and grief of losing that house, especially in the way that we did, drove me to act in a very childish way and to do what I thought to be very childish pranks in order to let off some steam and ease the pain." The judge at Kathy's trial didn't really believe her, though, in her accounting of what happened, and she said to Kathy of her situation, and I quote, "You said that you didn't want to hurt them. That's exactly what you wanted to do. You wanted to hurt them for buying the house that you wanted." And to that I say, yes, ma'am. That's exactly what happened. I agree with that judge. Kathy did end up having to apologize to the family, saying, and I quote, and I think this is the last quote for those of you who don't like quotes, though I don't know why I'm even saying that because no one's ever commented saying that they don't like quotes, so you never know. This is the last one. "All the things I put you through, the stress, the lack of privacy. I'm just so sorry." And I did read online that she also did end up paying the couple back for all of those bills that she had sent to their home. So that's something, I guess. Obviously, Janice and Jerry weren't like stoked on this ending. They were like glad that she was going to be monitored for so long because they figured that with the year of house arrest, all the years of probation, that she was probably going to be monitored longer and more closely than she would have if she had just been in jail for all those years. But they're still not stoked, and they said that they think she's still a danger because of her skill at manipulation and lying, and plus, she knows where they live, and she has even more of a reason to want to hurt them now that it's their fault that she's been put in jail. House arrest. Been brought up by the law. Been made accountable by the man. And just to leave you with one more chilling thought. All of this harassment was basically for nothing because after losing this house, everything didn't go so bad for Kathy and her family because though she didn't get the ideal home that she wanted in the little cul-de-sac in San Diego, she did end up buying a house before she started harassing this couple. And this house is only a mile away from the home that Jerry and Janice share. And that, my friends, is the story of Jerry Rice, Janice Ruhter, and their stranger stalker, Kathy Rowe. What do you think? Wild, right? Like, can you believe any of that? Doesn't that just like blow your mind? Like, ma'am, can we calm down? Like, can you even imagine? I don't know about you, but like, I don't own a home. I can't even imagine owning a home. So to go through such an adult thing of actually getting like, I don't even know how to buy a house. Like, you get a loan, you you call a bank. So you go through all those steps to do this super humongous, like life-altering thing that makes you so happy, and it's such a big commitment. And this bitch straight tries to have you raped about it. I'm sorry, ma'am. Like, she could have so easily gotten in contact with the wrong man on Craigslist, and that man could have gone over to that house, and we could be telling a totally different story today. You know what I mean? Like, it could have been so dangerous. And then for her to say, like, I watched so many interviews with Kathy Rowe. If you Google or you YouTube Kathy Rowe, you'll find lots of interviews. She was on Dr. Phil. She was on some other stuff, lots of things. And she was like, oh, I had no idea she could get hurt. How weird. The thought never crossed my mind. Yes, it did. Liar. Yes, it did cross your mind. And if it didn't, I don't even know what to say. It did cross your mind. And you could have gotten this woman raped. You could have gotten this woman killed. Shame on you, Kathy Rowe. Stalkers are just so scary, dude. The idea that somebody could just be there watching you without you noticing, learning your routines and seeing what you do all day, you and your loved ones and your family in your own house. That's so scary and invasive. And the fact that this woman now owns a house only a mile away from these people, it seems like that should just not even be allowed. Oh, and by the way, when I was doing research for this case, I did see that this case actually inspired a movie. It's a Netflix movie called Aftermath. I have not seen it yet, but I just want to let you know in case you've seen it and the story kind of sounds familiar to you. I might watch it though, because the main characters are Ashley Greene, which is Alice from Twilight, and Shawn Ashmore, which is Mike Weston from The Following, which if you haven't seen The Following, you've got to watch The Following, but now I'm getting off on a thing. But because I like those actors and because I have Netflix, I'll probably watch it. And I just wanted to let you know in case you have seen it or would like to see a movie about this case. It's called Aftermath on Netflix. But anyways, guys, that completes this video. I hope you found it interesting and informative and it gave you all the information you would want when looking into this case. And of course, I just want to thank you for hanging out with me and remembering this couple today. Like, their story is so crazy. It's such a scary thought to have somebody invade your privacy like that. Especially when you have like kids in your home and all of it for no reason. This woman did not know them. They literally did nothing to her. So be safe, be vigilant, pay attention to your surroundings. People be wildin' out here. Please don't forget to leave any case suggestions down below for cases you would like me to cover in future Morbid makeup videos. As you know, I have a very long list of suggestions, but every time you leave a suggestion, I put your name on a list with the suggestion next to it so I can give you a shout out during the video because I know you're filled with good taste and good ideas. Otherwise, you would not be here. If you haven't already, don't forget to join the Brat Pack by subscribing and ringing that bell because I put out a new Morbid makeup video every single week and I would love to hang out with you. Yes, you, specifically you. And if you want to follow me on my other social media, it's all linked down below. I have Instagram, Twitter, a Facebook page, and a Facebook group, and it's all listed down there for your convenience, along with all of the stuff I used on my face today, all the makeup, the earrings, the nail polish, for your pleasure. And with all of that said, I just want to thank you for being here when you could literally be anywhere else in the world. That is tight. You are tight. Please stay safe and be a better person than you were yesterday. At the very least, be better than Kathy Rowe was, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.